but I don't see any other option at his price that can rival him for points over the first 6 game weeks. Lewis Dunk and Adam Webster both returned from injuries to feature in Brighton's final pre-season friendly. So even though there's not a huge amount to be gained there, I'll be sticking with Sanchez. There's been a strong template formed in defence as well, with Trent Alexander-Arnold and Luke Shaw identified very early on in pre-season as the key targets at the back. They're two of the best attacking fullbacks in the league, with a great set of opening fixtures, particularly in the first 6 game weeks, which is the period I'm planning up to with this initial squad. All the talk early pre-season was about how good value Luca Digne looked to be, but the Frenchman has become somewhat of a concern, with Everton failing to impress in pre-season, losing 4-0 to Man United most recently. There's also a bit of a worry that he won't have a target man to aim for with his deliveries, with Calvert-Lewin rated as an injured out. So news on the striker's fitness will be key, but providing he's available, I'm actually leaning towards keeping Digne. The opening 6 fixtures are just so good on paper that I'd like some stake in them, and he's an option that you know you can just set and forget until you play the first wildcard. Vladimir Sofal is someone who featured in the top 5 defenders video, and he's made it into this final draft following injuries to Lamptey and Fofana. The attack-minded right-back is joint top for assists amongst Premier League defenders this calendar year, with 6, level with Alexander-Arnold and Cresswell. West Ham's opening 4 game weeks look good, and then you could potentially move him onto Ayling after that, in time for the Leeds fixture swing. One thing I really like about playing 4 at the back early on is that it allows your 4.5 million midfield sub to cover every position, allowing you to spend less on the other 2 bench places. Before we move on to the midfielders, let's talk about Kostas Tsimikas. Robertson's injury looks set to pave the way for the 4 million defender to earn starts in at least the first couple of game weeks, which could see him shoot up in price. On face value, that's a gift too good to pass up, but after giving it some thought, I'm not quite as sure. I wouldn't want to go without the attacking potential of Alexander-Arnold, and I'm not really keen to double up on Liverpool's defence early on. Also, it almost forces you into 2 transfers down the line, as you'll potentially have to redistribute funds. Even if you decide to just bench Tsimikas when Robertson returns, the problem then is you're blocked off from getting a 3rd Liverpool player in for their good fixtures in game weeks 4, 5 and 6. So as controversial as it may sound, I'm actually leaning towards going without him. That being said, I can definitely understand the appeal, and wouldn't discourage anyone from taking the gamble. In midfield, it's a double up with United and Liverpool assets. The premium picks Mohamed Salah and Bruno Fernandes almost pick themselves at this point. Yes, there'll be other big hitters that can rival them later on, namely Harry Kane and Romelu Lukaku, but it's got to be the 2 midfield picks early on for me. They have better fixtures and the advantage of having featured in pre-season. With United missing key players in attack, Mason Greenwood's starting place looks secure early on, either on the right wing or potentially even as a number 9. Diogo Jota is definitely a punt. It's possible he fails miserably and immediately needs to be sold, but that's very easy to do in this structure. A simple swap to Rafinha at some point looks likely. I still think Jota is the slight favourite to start against Norwich, having had a longer pre-season than Firmino and the extra day of recovery too, though a front 4 is also possible. But admittedly, the Brazilian does look more of a threat than he did before the last friendly, where he scored a brace. With Calvert-Lewin and Ollie Watkins both doubts, and further question marks over the latter after the arrival of Danny Ings, Michail Antonio is the only forward to retain his place since the first draft. He's enjoyed a good pre-season, bagging 3 goals and an assist in West Ham's last 3 friendlies, linking up well with Ben Rama. Danny Ings scored on his Aston Villa debut in a friendly last weekend, and given those first 3 fixtures, it's tempting to start with their new signing right from the off. At his price, he can easily become Calvert-Lewin or Bamford later on, or potentially forgotten man Raul Jimenez for 0.5 million cheaper. There's also been a few changes to the bench following the pre-season friendlies. Ben Foster remains on there for now, but if Newcastle's 3rd choice keeper Freddie Woodman gets added as a 4 million option, I'd make that swap to him, as it looks like both Dubravka and Darlow may miss the start of the season. A couple of pre-season goals for Josh Brownhill has seen him become a popular choice for the 4.5 million midfield spot, while injuries to Fofana and Evans mean that Daniel Amati could keep his starting place for game week 1, after a solid performance in the Community Shield win over Man City. There's still very little on offer at 4.5 million from the forwards, but Keenan Davis has a knock, so Michael Obafemi has come in, though there is talk of him leaving Southampton before the transfer window closes. Mohamed Salah's lack of goals in pre-season makes the game week 1 captaincy decision a little bit more open, but the main thing there is that the Egyptian has minutes under his belt, and especially in his latest outing against Athletic Bilbao, he was looking lively and getting into some good positions. He scored in 4 out of 4 previous game week 1 fixtures since signing for Liverpool, averaging 2 goal involvements and 12.8 FPL points per game.